President Biden said that allies would not waver in their defense of Ukraine during a speech at the NATO summit today. Nations in the alliance pledged more support for the country during a meeting with Ukrainian President Zelensky. President Biden says he looks forward to the day Ukraine becomes a NATO member. Meanwhile, on Capitol Hill, FBI Director Chris Wray testified before the House Judiciary Committee. He responded to criticism from Republican lawmakers. Let's bring in CBS News senior White House correspondent Weijia Jiang, who joins us from Finland. Weijia, thank you for being here. What's your summary assessment of President Biden's visit to the NATO summit?
Robert, it's great to see you. I think President Biden is ending the summit exactly how he began, which is stressing that this alliance is stronger than ever, despite some bumps that we saw leading up to this meeting. As he left, he said, "We are together, we are together," when asked if he had a message for Vladimir Putin, because in the course of this summit, the G7, which is a different group, sort of had a sidebar meeting to declare a brand new securities agreement for Ukraine to bolster their efforts even more in the war against Russia. And Moscow was very quick to reply and say that it could be potentially dangerous and there may be consequences in the medium, long, and even short-term future. And so President Biden responded to that, and it was a very simple message, but that's what he said before he took off and came here to Finland to remind the powers that be that he is actually leading the charge and continues to do so, which really has been his message, Robert, since day one.
Speaking of that charge, let's listen to what President Biden had to say earlier today.
I hope we finally have put to bed the notion about whether or not Ukraine is welcome in NATO. It's going to happen. You're all moving in the right direction. I think it's just a matter of getting by the next few months.
Weijia, the president said he put to bed the idea that Ukraine's not welcome in NATO, but there were some tensions evident during this summit. Where does that all go from here?
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky issued a scathing statement in response to the fact that NATO did not have a firm timeline for when Ukraine might be able to join as a member of this alliance. And so President Biden, in that case that we just heard, said that he thought it would only be a matter of time. It's a question of when and not if, which is something that other NATO members agree with. But there was tension about how quickly Ukraine should be able to join. I will say that after the president made those remarks, he clarified and said that he didn't believe it would happen until the war ended. He has expressed this concern before because an attack against one is an attack against all, and he worried that all of the members would be dragged into a conflict with Russia. He also said that he believes that Zelensky understood, and it seemed like he may have massaged the message a little bit, because he said as long as there are security commitments, Zelensky understands that the timing of when Ukraine joins does not matter, because he will have protections, he will have a long-term plan to continue this fight against Moscow. And the president believes that that's enough to assuage Zelensky, who, again, earlier this week was fired up about it. But they did leave on good terms, with Zelensky thanking the president for all the aid that he has supplied.
Weijia Jiang, thank you, and safe travels as you head home eventually. We appreciate it.